introduction, and it's great to see you all are here. I think so. I think we're gonna keep it a little informative, little open up, and I'll try and take you through as to what the whole the luxury marketing scenario right now is in India and how it's developing, right? So we'll get started with that. So if can we have that slides going on? So I'll take you all through it, and have any questions, have any doubts, have any queries, just pop it up, and we'll try and get that answered right away if possible, right? I think you're on mute by chance. Great. Can we go into presentation mode? Are we in presentation mode?
Yeah,
Not yet.
it's on presentation on my system. It's not
Not.
on presentation
No.
right now for you.
No. It's showing the normal default view itself.
Let me change it. Is it
Yeah,
showing now?
I think so. We are
Okay,
good. Great.
perfect.
I think we'll go on to the next slide itself. Okay, so first of all, again, really nice to meet you all. So, as my name is Shivang. I'm a marketer by profession, and I specialize specifically in brand marketing, brand positioning, creative productions, and sorry, can you guys hear me? I hope so.
Yeah, Shivang.
Well, okay,
Loud and
great.
clear.
All right. So yeah, as I was saying, I specialize in brand positioning, strategy, product launches, creative production, and digital marketing with a little bit more insight focus on brand crisis management as well. So I've been in this industry for almost 5 years now, and my portfolio kind of comprises of 6 to 8 brands that I've completely worked on, which you can see on the slide. So as of right now, I'm a project manager with Tag. So Tag is actually a marketing consulting firm, which is based out of the UK but globally present. I reside, of course, in India, and from here I handle Intel EMEA, the complete region. I handle SEO for Tresemme Australia and DHL India, and a little bit ad hoc basis for Heineken EMEA as well. And prior to this, I was working with another marketing agency called Hakuhodo, and over there I was a group account manager and was specifically brought in to handle Lexus. So the complete marketing and advertising for Lexus from end to end to support the brands and the clients. I was the forefront runner for them, and we worked on quite a few extensive projects from experiential event crafting to creative production to performance marketing, and of course, the consumer psychology that we work over there to try and understand how we're going to tackle it forward. The other brands, they have been a great part of my life as well. Skoda was actually, I think, my first venture into automobiles. So, I mean, if you can see from the brands, I'm a big automobile person. When I was, starting my career, I was quite sure that I wanted to get into luxury marketing and try and build myself an automobile segment itself. So, that's me. Now, we'll jump into how and what exactly, luxury marketing is. And, I'll try and take you through it as to how I was seeing through from my eyes, from my POV, what were my thought processes behind it to, get to where I am and how I'm going to be moving forward, plus how the industry is going forward as well. So, let's say whenever we're talking about luxury marketing, right now, luxury itself as a whole thing can be very specific to each and every person, right? It is not exactly one universal definition that you can say. Like whenever you talk about luxury, it's not necessarily that, for me, it would be like having my dream car, my dream sports car there, right? But for you, it can be maybe, let's say, even trying one of the most exquisite wines or spirits out there, or it can also be in terms of fashion. Let's say that you would like to get one of the most exquisite crocodile leather bags from Zena. So it can be materialistic. It can also be in terms of service related. Let's say it could be a very unique travel destination. So, for me personally, I'll tell you what luxury means to me is that something which has been intricately and complexly crafted, because that showcases the the culture, that showcases the artisanship, that showcases the idea behind as to what led from the concept to the production of that specific product. If it's a simple thing, you get it in mass. But if it's something that's complex, which has been, intricately crafted, maybe just for you or just for a select full of people, I think that is, you know, the definition of luxury for me, personally. That was my, let's say, understanding and definition, and which kind of, propelled me to go forward into this industry. Now, the three main essence which I feel that, work out best for this industry, of course, from a umbrella standpoint, that unique skills. Now, when are we talking about industry, right? Now, luxury marketing is not something that you're always going to be doing it at an extreme mass level. Um, Over here you're not catering to millions or billions of audiences. Over here you might just be catering to hundreds of thousands of an audience. So you have to look into it in a way that how can you make it as niche as possible. So one of the unique skills that comes in this specific industry is how niche you are and how are you able to tap that niche market. So that is a very specific edge that you would possess, where you're going a little bit more into the micro perspective, micro details of how things are working in that specific segment. Another one of the unique skills that you have over here is that you are going to be not dealing with a product or a service which is, maybe, let's say, 5,000 rupees or 6,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees. Over here, for something to be termed as luxury in terms of INR, you always have to be looking at it from a starting point of 55 to 75,000 rupees. Before that, let's say till 10,000, it's quite normal. You can say it's mildly premium or aspirational. From 10,000 to 55,000 would be a premium product in a way, depending on, what kind of product are you exactly looking at. And for me specifically, from 75,000 plus or 55,000 plus, you go into uh, you start tapping into the luxury market. And from there, you go on to ultra luxury, which would be somewhere over the, uh, let's say, figure of maybe 10 lakhs plus. And I'm not talking about automobiles specifically over here. I'm talking about, let's say, this could be, simple products as well. Something maybe even like a watch, or maybe even like a perfume, or maybe even like, clothes, or even, lifestyle accessories, anything like that. So every specific product has a very specific price range to which, you kind of keep it over there. And above ultra luxury, which comes into one of the, I think, let's say, the finest ways of, getting to know what the world can offer to you, is of course then bespoke, right, where everything is crafted to your personalized need as well. Now that, from our standpoint, we understand what we would need, but why does a brand attract you so much, right? What makes Louis Vuitton, or what makes Rolls Royce a Rolls Royce, and what about, Patek Philippe being Patek Philippe? It's the way how these brands have, showcased themselves over the, hundreds of years that they might have been present over there. It's all about how they've placed themselves, how much can they curate their products and services to make it one of a kind out there. So hence over there comes in your brand storytelling skill. Now this is of course going to be one of the most important ones out there, because your product is going to be carrying a story with it, right? And these stories are in a way, sacred for the brands themselves, because they're sharing the story with you. They're asking you to be a part of that story as well, and brands hold that very very closely to their heart. I think one of the best stories that have developed over the years is of course by Hermes, when they talk about the Birkin bag, right? You have to wait for good amount of years to get your hands on it, but it's that legacy that has been built up that now first Birkins were, of course, has started out as one of the signature products given by Hermes, but now it has developed into something like, why should you deserve a Hermes Birkin, right? What makes you so special? So over there, you see how the brand has flipped the position itself, is because of the story that Birkin has had over the years that it's been present out there. Similarly, if you look at different limited editions that come in either with timepieces, or even with cars, or even with wines and spirits, it's the same thing that let's say if you're talking about one-off cars or one-off concept cars, right? It might have been designed by a very specific designer who has contributed to the industry for various years. So, all of those things, those specific stories that come out of it, those are the things that they always capitalize on. Like, how Lamborghini came into existence. It was just because Enzo Ferrari challenged Monsieur Lamborghini that, please go back to your tractors. You cannot make sports cars. And, over there, ego does get into play, but your mindset also changes the whole thing. And what Lamborghini then did, of course, we all know, they got into sports car segment, but the mindset with which they went on was that you uh, buy a Ferrari when you want to be someone, showcase yourself somewhere, but you buy a Lamborghini when you actually are someone. So that was the positioning that the story that the brand was telling across to people, which resonated with a lot of people. And that's how Lamborghini then became on to challenge Ferrari on various different levels. um, and that same thing that once you've reached that kind of a status, you try and now go into seeing how you can tap the better markets. There comes in exclusivity. And I think exclusivity comes out best from the timepieces brands that are out there. Let's say if it's Rolex, if it's Omega, if it's Patek Philippe, if it's Audemars Piguet, um, those, when they create those one-off ones or one-off tens, those specific limited editions that you have to showcase yourselves as to why is it there, or why should you be a part of this story. That's when exclusivity comes in. And during this time, your products are appreciated. They never depreciate in this case, because they know what kind of a story, what kind of a legacy, what kind of a, that's the word, aura comes with it. So hence exclusivity comes and plays a big axis there. And this is something that a lot of let's say brands really do. Like whenever you see something come out on social, or let's say even a press release in terms of that, we are introducing this. Let's say right now, Bugatti had recently launched the Tourbillon, and everybody was cargo over it. It was a successor to the Chiron, which was again a successor to the Veron. And that reveal was just done for the aspirational audience. Even before the car finished production, the number of units that were allocated for production were already sold out within the first 1 week. So those things come out just to showcase what the brand is all about, what the brand is doing, and then they prance it around as a proud trophy. But if you're talking about, let's say, the business aspect of it, it's already taken care of from the back. So that's when even exclusivity comes in, because you are getting an access to buy that product or service even before anyone else out there is getting. Right? You hold that kind of a position with the brand, and the brand respects you enough to bring that over to you. Um, Same way when Hublot had launched the La Ferrari watch edition, right, to honor the La Ferrari car as well. It kept it exclusive in a way that first, if you have bought the car, then only you're eligible to buy that timepiece as well. So if you have to want this, you need to have this as well. So it becomes like a correlation between two brands, which helps them get a proper, let's say, visibility and identity out there with the right set of people. And you are controlling your product sales, which a supply, which helps you on control your exclusivity factor as well. Let's go to the next one. So last slide that we talked about was how the brands are thinking in this case in terms of showcasing themselves, right? But every brand has to cater to a certain specific audience, every industry for that matter. Now we'll try and understand how the consumers are in this case, right? uh, People have money. That's the first thing that I understood as soon as I stepped into the market. And I'm speaking specifically from India right now. Outside also, of course, yeah, but people have money, and they are very good at hiding it, or not showcasing it much to not be so flashy. Right? Subtle luxury is never flashy. Right? You cannot be having gold chains around you and then just saying that, oh, I'm rich. doesn't work that way at all. So now the persona that you would be looking for for a person who is, let's say a high end clientele, is of course not someone who would be from a salaried professional, right? You need someone over here who has been, let's say, having a legacy of their own, right? One of the best examples is, of course, in our country, Zambani's itself, right? They are the, let's say, the major shareholders of a good, let's say 10,000 CR plus kind of companies, and that kind of legacy that they have built from, let's say, past 30 or 40 years that have been in there. That's what brands earn for, that they need those kind of people to be associated with. So your persona is always studied in terms of what kind of people are we targeting to. Let's say if we are talking to audience who might be, let's say, at a managerial level at different companies, but good companies, they have the spending capacity of, let's say, per person at around, on luxury products, of around like 45 to 50,000, right? You might be getting, you'll be targeted in a way that you will be getting ads of, premium or entry level luxury brands that you might have access to. Same way as and when you move forward, the same way your persona also changes. But the general persona that every luxury brand tries to move towards is someone who have their own, maybe let's say, own business, or they are at a very very senior level within different organizations, right? Let's say you might be, you know the CEO of Deloitte Global. You're perfectly fitting in that persona. You might be even, let's say, chairman of BlackRock's board. You're again on that same kind of segment. You might be an MD of servicing industry, right? You fit in that as well. So each of those are divided into basis of how your spending capacity is present out there. And that itself automatically, let's say, once you become a part of the brand through one purchase or two purchases, or let's say numerous purchases, that automatically converts into personalization and loyalty. Now that this specific aspect comes in only when you have showcased your commitment to the brand. uh, you won't be given options to personalize so easily unless and until the brand knows that, okay, he's been with us. I mean, and they understand this in terms of the purchasing patterns that they have seen across. Of course, a certain level of personalization is always offered by luxury brands because you are spending that much amount of money, so you would of course like to have a certain element which just screams you from that product. So even let's say when you're going out to buy a Ferrari or a Rolls Royce or a timepiece, you get certain levels of personalization that okay, what color would you like your seats to be, what kind of fabric would you like your seats to be, is there any specific trim aspect that you would like to give to the car. These are, to be honest, you when we read about it, we'll feel like, oh, okay, those are some great levels of personalization. But at that time, to be honest, you would just be scratching the surface with them. If someone, let's say that you have a Ferrari or a Rolls Royce collection, you get access to materials and designs and handcraft artisanship that no one else will do. They will truly make your purchase stand out as really one of one. And that's what then sets apart the personalization aspect of it. The personalization aspect can go so big that, let's say, if you have a certain fabric yourself that you may might be present in your family heirloom, or you might have acquired it from somewhere, you can give it to them and they will ensure it that it gets reflected in your product. This you won't find anywhere else. You will find it only on certain level of personalization aspects which the customer has brought into by their loyalty and by their purchasing patterns. So those two things always go hand in hand, and it always comes from the persona of, or the psychology of the person that has been associated with that brand. And from an overall perspective, right, we've seen that we have the luxury customers, but the other half is always going to be the aspirational customers. Whatever kind of marketing that you see outside on a, let's say, a little bit of a bigger level, it is always to capture that aspirational audience, which can be right now, me as well. I'm a very big aspirational audience for Lamborghini because my one of my dreams is to buy that car. So I'm at still at the very much at the aspirational level right now. And when you are aspiring to be something, to buy something, you're always going to work hard. And when you get that, it has a certain level of, feeling of being a winner. And you're sharing that with that brand. And that brand is getting that feeling with you because they know what kind of people are coming into play. So they know that they have this loyalty which has not even been started on by any purchase whatsoever. It's only there from an aspirational level. When we see people going mad over a Ferrari, or even for people who have different kind of aspects, right? You might be mad behind a specific LV bag or a Coach bag, right? They don't know about you yet. All they know about you is that, okay, yeah, he's falling within that certain persona. We know he or she's gonna be working towards it. So it's that aspiration that they bank on, which helps them grow even further. So it's one of the most important audience segments out there, just to showcase that your love for this brand, or let's say your aspiration for this brand, just keeps on going bigger and bigger and better. Let's go to the next one. Uh, Now that let's say the flow as we went through that, first we understood the brand, then we understood the consumer, we understood the two different set of consumers in this case. Now, of course, that you have brought into you're now a proper loyal part of the brand. You are someone who's a force to be reckoned with. Now comes in another exclusive aspect of being a part of these brands is when you start getting invites for specific exclusive events. Now, luxury brand events are never more than 45 to, let's say, 75 people, right? It's really, really skimmed down to a level where, of course, you'll have people from the media, you'll have people from the brand, and a select group of consumers. Some of them would also be aspirational consumers, which after a good amount of research and analysis, that you get to know, okay, we are expecting this influential personality to be a part of our brand soon. So this could be the last push that it needs to have that kind of a person represent you. So that's when comes in creating and crafting such exceptional luxury experiences. Now, these are not just events that I'm talking about. I think one of the biggest contributors towards experiences is done by various luxury consortiums. Now, these are the people who, you know, read about you and get to know you on a very, very personal level. It can also be in terms of exactly, what kind of chocolate do you like best, or what would be your morning cereal if you're getting up. How do you even like your tea or coffee? In this case, they get down to that deep level of analysis to understand you maybe better than you as well at times. So they use that to create personalized exceptional luxury experiences. Now let's say we'll take it into two cases. If you're talking about a brand event, right? Whenever, let's say, we go into fashion at this point of time, uh, you've seen the runway shows that happen, right? Whenever the brands are launching their collections. It can be the fall, it can be the winter, it can be the summer. Now over there, of course, the designer is always going to be the the second limelight, I would say, but brands are always going to be on the first place. Brand and designer together elevate that experience and the collection that comes out with it. Over here, you'll have a simple good setup that will see a very specific niche audience. It'll be um, people who have that kind of money, or let's say even they might not have the money, but they have that influence and power that comes with it. So you always associate yourselves with them. So that's kind of consumer group that you'll see. Maybe let's say if right now Pharrell Williams is doing for LV, and you get an invite to that. Now I'll be either be of two cases, that you have a great digital footprint behind you, right? So that you are elevating and promoting the brand out there. Second is that you have again been a very loyal customer, and you have already showcased an interest towards the new collection that's coming out. And third would be the media that is present out there, because your media is going to then give you the PR and the upliftment that you require on the platforms to reach out to your aspirational audience. This is the basic overall flow that I'm talking about. Now comes in the second layer over here, where you have, let's say, the collection being showcased to only consumers, and these are now extremely loyal consumers that you have with them, with yourselves, and you know that you give them the first preference because they have been with you for the longest period of time. You have different kind, you may have a different kind of setup in terms of dining and drinking experiences. I mean, different kind of drinking experiences. Not just that it's fancy liquor, but the way that they're presented, they're showcased, right? That comes in as a second level over here. And third is just for one consumer, or let's say one customer, they organize a complete show, which would be done at maybe one of their flagship stores present out there, and it would be done behind closed doors. It won't be during your operational hours. Let's say if your operational hours are 11 to 8 kind of a thing, this would happen post 10 p.m. Then you get a specific, you get the whole store to yourself. You have a set of personal shoppers available with you, and they are catering only and only to you. That's the kind of third exceptional luxury experience that they create for you. So, depending on what kind of a consumer you are, the whole game gets played out over there. So, I think over those three things, I think I covered the 3 points as well, which were like in terms of seamless service, which was the last one that we talked about, attention to detail when I talked about how each of these brands or the concierge services that they hire, how much they get to know you on a very detailed level. As I said, they might even know what cereal that you're having in the morning. And exclusivity, again, gets covered in the last two forms that I talked to you about, even and all three actually, because not everybody gets an invite to the collection shows. But exclusivity can depend on how the three of those are working out. And you go to next, and we go to the next slide, please. Yeah. Uh, so this is how, in terms of how the whole flow, or let's say kind of a basic overall understanding of how brands work across out there, right? Um, Now, as we were talking about when I said that brand storytelling is one of the most key ingredients of reaching out to their own customers and the aspirational audience in this case. Um, I think heritage for me personally, and that's what I've also mentioned on the slide as well, that it's that history that you're bringing out and you're making your customers feel a part of it. That we want to share the story with you, even if, let's say, you're with your group of friends or with your family or anything, and you have a story to share with them, or you feel a part of that story, which makes you happy, or which makes you you know feel a little bit proud that okay, maybe it's one kind of an event in life led to this, which kind of had that, and you have been trying to carry forward that as a ritual maybe. So it's the same kind of an aspect that they're trying to bring that emotion out through the heritage that they have built over the you know decade or a century in this case. So anytime that you see any of the signature or flagship products being offered, they will always have an history. Let's say if you're talking about as I said, the Birkin for Hermes, right? It's been there for more than, I think, 5 decades now, and it's still one of the most top selling uh, handbags out there by any luxury brand, where you have a waiting period of almost 4 to 5 years. 3 years is minimum, 4 to 5 years is medium. It can even stretch up to 10 years, depending on how what the demand is. And what demand is high, it depends on what kind of supply is the brand regulating on, right? That's the kind of thing that they built up in terms of exclusivity over here. Second heritage can be, let's say, when it comes to cars in this cases, is that the first, let's say, the Phantom, which is the flagship of the Rolls Royce brand, right? They have been serving even before, let's say, the Queen of England, right? And that's the kind of heritage that it holds. And Rolls Royce and Bentley being the proper British brands, though now both of them kind of belong to German groups, but they are one of the pinnacles of luxury automobile British brands. So let's say Phantom or Flying Spur, they've been present for more than 5 to 6 decades, and they're still continuing to grow. So, and let's say if you have someone like the Queen of England using your cars as her, let's say, maybe a daily drive, or has her specific car of choice, or has a favorite car as well, that adds to your heritage even more. It elevates it on different level. Same way it has been associated with different and more strong influential personalities as well. It can even be from India in this case. It can even be from UK or US, right? And US, of course, was is has always been on the top in terms of association, having an association with luxury. And post that, we've seen China, who has been now the highest consumer of luxury brand products. After that, it's of course US, and then Europe, and India is on fourth right now. And based on what recent trends and studies are coming, we are expecting India to be bet a bigger market than US as well. So over here also in India as well, you're seeing great artisanship coming up. You're seeing great Indian brands coming up as well, and they too carry a great amount of heritage. So if your brand has that heritage, people will be compelled automatically to be a part of you. They want to share that history with you. So, and same vice versa, that your family might have been a very influential family as well, or they might have contributed some way or the other to different things out there. Can be in terms of freedom fighting, can be in terms of economic growth, can be in terms of just having that you know the influence on people out there. Now through that heritage, as I was talking about, that it's a bond between, not between the brand and the consumer, hence that emotional connection comes in. What we've also noticed across is that a lot of these specific products have also become a rundown in the family generation. Maybe let's say the great grandfather would have bought his first Rolex at that time, right, which would have been in somewhere around maybe at that time it would have been only be 120 $150, but it was quite a big amount that time, and it has been passed down from generation to generation, because that timepiece or that product has been a part of your family's growth as well, and can also be considered as a good omen. So the emotional connection with the brand has been built by the family then within themselves over those years. So that's one of the best ways of how the emotional connection works out over there. And this leads automatically to also authenticity. Authenticity always plays a good role, because you will always get cheap knockoffs of fake products anywhere. I mean, in Mumbai itself, you can go to Hirap at night, you'll get first copies of all the luxury brands out there, and you were able to understand the difference. Sometimes some of these people are so good in terms of copying that it's very tough to get it. But I think the authenticity factor comes out automatically when you are a part of that. When you have been a part of the brand, either through as an aspirational audience, specifically, right? You know the kind of product, kind of the process that they go through, and when you hold that product or that service that you get, it becomes very clear in terms of your emotions as well, that okay, yeah, this is an actual genuine experience or an actual genuine product. And maybe what my butt off to it, it's my first one that's come in. So, and that it's the real deal. So hence the authenticity over there in terms of what has gone behind, can be a personal story to you, can be a personal story to the brand, can be in terms of the what kind of products or manufacturing elements have been used behind it. So you always take these three things into consideration whenever you're talking about, because it's as a normal marketing aspect as well, that emotional connection will always help you sell and also feel connected to your audience. At the end, everything is a business, so selling is always going to be is going to trump over anything. But emotional connect will always help you get that final push to make that happen for you. Right. Next one, please. So as I told you all about what exactly is my perspective and take, and how I have seen the industry grow into, and what it is going to be growing into, is, as I said, that India as a market itself is positioning itself to be second, or maybe even first, can compete with China in the coming next few years, right? The three, let's say that we are definitely going to surpass Europe and UK in terms of the spending capacity for luxury products, that's for sure. But I think these three big markets are going to be playing a very vital role, and that's where a lot of brands have now started focusing heavily on India in terms of investment in the industry over here, investment in people, and bringing products more which were not first as a were not deemed viable for the audience, but now they understand that you know we as a economy or we as a consumer can demand the best. So now that we are in this phase of moving towards this growth, um, if you are looking to get into luxury brand marketing, right? This is what I feel would work out best for you. It's what I apply to myself on on a daily basis as well, and it's what helped get me through it. So I'm sharing what I feel best could work out for you is first, of course, everyday learning and understanding. No matter what profession you're in, you have to be up to date as to what's happening around right now, right? Uh, if we're talking about luxury brands, of course, right now, if you're working for them, of course, you're going to be an aspirational audience. But even then, just for the love of the brand, you have to learn and understand. You have to try and decode it from your perspective, and then of course research to try and understand what they came to you with in terms of what was their thought process, what was the idea behind it, what was the inspiration behind it. And all of this you can learn through digital platforms, of course, and physical platforms could be in terms of visiting the retail stores. I think that's one of the best experiences out there to get an idea as to what uh, the brand is actually offering to you from an experience perspective. You'll see the change that you see from a normal brand to a luxury brand. It's not. I think in 360 would be a small number to say. It's a big flip. Now we were specifically talking about luxury marketing, so of course, it's important that you get the relevant experience in marketing or advertising. Either you work with the brand in the brand, or you work with different marketing agencies who cater to them, because every brand does not have an in-house thing. They always reach out to different partners to help them through, push them through, and take care of quite a few things. Same way that for me as well, when I was with Skoda, I had specifically, I have worked on the launch of Kodiak and Octavia, the racing generation. So those are the premium offerings by the brand. And then I joined Hakodo, where I was specifically brought in just to handle Lexus. So for Lexus also, you have your products starting from 60 lakhs going up to 3 CR. So I specifically worked and created a worked with the team and created a complete launch plan for Lexus LX 500D, which details for it around 3 CR in this country. Same way you have the Lexus LM as well, which retailed around same. And of course, as go towards the product portfolio, you'll see different price ranges coming in. So each price range has that kind of a different preference that you would like to make it through. And of course, you need a brand which is going to spend money. So getting that experience, even from a foundation perspective, in marketing or advertising is very, very important. It doesn't matter if it's in any industry, but that foundation is always going to play a big role, because that's where you're going to build it up from. If your foundations are clear, it's never going to be an issue. Certification degrees, now both options are available. For me specifically, I did my master's in luxury brand management from SPGen and Politecnico di Milano. So it was a dual course where I spent the first 6 months in Mumbai, right, and then the next 6 months in Italy, Milan. Sadly, we were the COVID hit batch, so we did get affected big time, but we were still able to complete our course. I firsthand saw how the luxury industry operates from the heart of luxury in a way, because Italy has been one of the biggest forefront runners in terms of, let's say, if it's automobile, if it's in terms of fashion, if it's in terms of wines and spirits, if it's in terms of culinary, right? So, if after Italy, I think it would be France, who are, like, let's say, the best producers out there. But when you see that, right, it opens up your horizons on another level. And how you would see, let's say, uh, you know DMart or Big Bazaar, the kind of number of floors of they have over here, even for Zara in that case. That's how they have positioned their flagship stores in Italy. They'll have good 2 to 3 floors worth of products and services to offer to you. And yet, of course, they're going to maintain their positioning, they're going to maintain their understanding. They're going to maintain their products at the same level that they maintain it everywhere. But you will feel that flip again come into play. So certifications, and in terms of certifications, there are quite a few that are coming out there, who are trying to give you an overall perspective or an understanding as to what uh, this thing is all about. And yeah, I think the final one would be passion for the industry. You have to love what you do. You need to put yourself into it completely, no matter what industry you're in. But for luxury industry as well, it's the same thing. So yeah, these are the four things that I have worked towards to get to where I am, and I keep working towards that right now as well. I think so. Next one, I think we're done, if I'm not wrong. So yeah,
I think, yeah.
that's
Yes, Shivang.
that's
Great.
from
Thank
my
you so much. Thank you so much, Shivang, for your time. I think I have some questions myself, but I'll keep
sure.
open to the flow. Guys,
Yeah,
if you have any questions, you can type it on the chat that is available to everyone. You can just type down your questions if you have. Else, I have a couple of questions, and then we can call it off.
sure, definitely.
I'll wait for a moment, guys, if you want to ask anything to Shivang. Alright, I don't see any typing messages, so I'll quickly ask a couple of questions myself.
Was I
So
that good?
I think they are also. It was. I personally found it very interesting, especially for the fact that it was more of a story curation. So from more than doubt, it is fascination that you get. Oh, okay, this is what can happen. But yeah, cool. So one question that I had was probably somewhere in the lines of exclusivity, yet the feel is whether Apple
Right.
a luxury product.
Apple.
Yeah, whether Apple is a luxury product.
To be honest, no, I do not consider Apple to be a luxury product. Apple does have collaborations with luxury products. Like for Apple Watch, they have a collaboration with Hermes, where Hermes have actually built the straps that you see across for the Apple Watches.
Right.
Over there, that can become a extension of the product and a part of, let's say, a high premium product, not exactly a luxury product. Because if you see the amount of, let's say, the numbers that get sold by Apple, whether it's on a India level or a global level, right? It's not exactly hard to obtain it.
Yeah, so that was the reason I had a doubt. The reason I feel it still is a luxury, probably again I can be wrong, but from the data I've seen that people have those who buy Apple, they buy into the aspiration of Apple. Like 70% of the phones sold in India are EMI based, and people want to aspire to be a certain, like, be looked at a certain way. That's why people buy it. But yeah, there's no exclusivity.
Aha, exactly. I mean, see, aspiration can be for anything. It's not specifically just for luxury products, right? It depends on how are you, seeing luxury for yourself. Let's say
Right.
if you are a person who has always been on a, you know, OnePlus or a Nokia, right, of a certain specific range that what we say, somewhere between, let's say, 15 to 25,000 of your phone in this case, right? For you, of course, Apple is definitely going to feel like a luxury because you've taken that jump from 25,000 to 75,000 in a way, right? So, as I said, luxury for everyone, as I said, is subject to how are
Right.
you looking at it. But if you look at it from a brand perspective altogether, it definitely is not, because you don't have exclusivity coming in, right? You don't have any, they're not cut shorting their supply in any way whatsoever, right? Demand is there, they're supplying it as to us. It's one is to one over there.
Got it. Good.
But yeah, if you have, let's say, you have that collaboration product with Hermes, then you can maybe put that in that category.
Got it. Got it. Got it. So the second question, I think it's a little more broad, is let's say if someone wants to start something in luxury, uh, as some luxury product if wants to offer from India, what do you think are the best five products or industries that one can pick and convert it to a luxury product that can be exported from India to outside the country?
So, to be honest, a lot of it is exported from India. The leather products that you see that are used by the brands out there, the leather
Hmm.
has been exported from India actually. So India is actually one of the biggest exporters for the raw materials that go behind it. But let's say if you were just looking at a product perspective, I think we can definitely bring out. Uh, from fashion industry, I think the the wedding showcases that we have, right? The craftsmanship, the intensity that we showcase, even for a bridal outfit or even for a groom outfit, right? You won't see that happening so easily everywhere else. I think the kind of legacy we carry forward in that, the kind of details we get into it over there, right? When you are, getting it ready just for yourself for that one day, even. I think that's something that
Right,
uh,
right. Makes sense.
it's catching on very well, because even for the last few
Makes
shows, even
sense.
for Met Gala as well, if I'm not wrong, I think Amit Gupta's designs were worn as well. So, and we're seeing Sabyasachi also getting worn over there. And I think the Bollywood in this case is showcasing it also very well outside. So that's one. Second, I would say would be in terms of footwear, like the traditional footwear, um, especially across Rajasthan, where I've actually noticed this a lot, is the kind of embroidery that they're trying to bring into their products by showcasing the culture of Rajasthan, or even culture of India in this case, right? And the kind of leather and the look and feel, the kind of colors that they're using. I think that can definitely be a second product which can appeal to a good amount of audiences out there, because we know we have a lot of sneakerheads present globally. But I think, this kind of footwear as well to, complement your formal attires, or even semi-formal attires, business casuals as well, it really has that potential to reach up there.
Very interesting. Great. Nice. Cool. I think that was me. Guys, I'll open the floor again in case you have any questions. Else, we can call it off for now. I think what I'll also do is post this session, we'll be sharing a mail. And in case you guys have any questions, in case you want to reach out to Shivang for any help around, let's say, how to get into the industry or anything else, we'll give you a form where you can put those questions out, and we'll try to find a time with Shivang and share the message and then share the responses with you. Great. Cool. I think with that, let's call it off. Thank you so much, Shivang, again for taking time on a Saturday. I'm sure
No worries.
you would have had other things, but yeah, I think at least for me was something that I was looking forward to a lot, because it's an industry that I've been keen to understand more, and yeah, it did help me a lot. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Not at all. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for your time. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.